Hey, good morning, everybody. How's it going? My name's Gabe Vasquez. I'm a candidate for Las Cruces City Council, District 3. Taking some time off from work this morning to do a little morning trail run out in the Organ Mountains Desert Peaks National Monument, otherwise also known as Los Cerros de los Manso. So I wanted to talk a little bit today actually about some of the history behind this beautiful city that we live in and the surrounding areas. Right now I'm standing at the Baylor Pass trail in the National Monument, and a lot of people use this trail, recreate on this trail. If you haven't been on it, I suggest that you check it out. It starts at Baylor Pass Canyon Road, and you can actually take it all the way to the other side to Aguirre Springs. But I think it's really important also that when we use these trails, or when we look at the land that surrounds Las Cruces and in Las Cruces, that we appreciate and learn a little bit more about the history here, because I think it gives us collective ownership of this place that we all call home. So, like I said, this is one of my favorite places to come to. This place has a special meaning for me. This was actually the first date I ever took my girlfriend on, was on this very trail here. So Baylor Pass, so it carries with it a history that dates back to the Union and Confederate skirmish in Mesilla. So the trail itself is named after Lieutenant Colonel John Baylor, and he was sent by the Confederate Army to occupy some forts here in the Mesilla Valley during the era of the Civil War. And the history to me has it's particularly funny, if you can find some humor in that kind of history. But the story goes basically that Lieutenant Colonel John Baylor was coming over San Agustin Pass on Highway 70, and he was expected to run into a Union troop. I think it was like over 40 different troop members were expected to be on the other side and ready to fight his forces. And anticipating that Lieutenant Baylor was going to come with a whole bunch of troops, the Union Army, the Union troop that was settled here, ended up taking a whole bunch of whiskey with them to wait it out. In a bad decision, they drank all the whiskey. They ditched the water because it was too heavy to carry, and Lieutenant Baylor and the rest of the Confederate forces didn't end up coming till 2 days later. So when Lieutenant Baylor came and found the Union Army in the desert, they were drunk, they were dehydrated, and they pretty much gave up on the spot because at that point they just wanted to survive. So supposedly this Baylor Pass Canyon Trail is where that happened. And so that takes you back a little bit to some of the early history, and one of the reasons also why it's important to protect these lands, because the history lives here. Now, even before that, some of the history that we don't always tell, or that we don't glorify as much as we do other kind of types of American history, is the history of the Piro Manso Tiwa people, who actually were the first native people that the Spanish, that Oñate and his expedition encountered here in Las Cruces. So the Piro Manso Tiwa now live in different places. They're not a federally recognized tribe, although they've been trying to get federal recognition for many, many years. But they live in Tortugas Pueblo, they live in El Paso, and they live in Ciudad Juarez, where the Spanish settlers actually built missions for them and helped them resettle the valley in some of these different areas. And so that's why it's important to me that this place that we call the Organ Mountains Desert Peaks also has a shared history with the native people that lived here, and that's the Cerro de los Mansos. So there's some just background and some history. One of the reasons I think also it's really important that we protect this monument, and particularly in my potential role as a city councilor, is that this place has the power to heal. It has the power to bring some economic development. It has the power to get people both physically and mentally healthy, and to be able to have access to these lands is really important and crucial, I think, to the quality of life in Las Cruces and in Doña Ana County. Me and a couple of friends started a youth group not too long ago, and we decided that we could use this place kind of as therapy and as a place for mentorship, to take youth out here from Las Cruces into the monument to tell them about this history, a little bit of what we learned today, and help them develop a sense of ownership, a sense of pride, a sense of place here in Las Cruces, so that they could grow up and invest in this community, so that they don't grow up just thinking that this is, just nothing but desert out here, but that they're committed to making a difference here. And so that's really important to me. And as I mentioned, this place also has tremendous economic power. I think communities across the West that have protected federal public lands, like the Organ Mountains Desert Peaks, have done some really cool things by building recreation economies around different activities that you can do on public lands. So, things like hiking, these kind of historical tours. Friends of the Organ Mountains, who I'm representing here today, do some interpretive tours with the BLM and tell folks about the history here. People like David Kreider at Southwest Expeditions, come out to this land and take tourists that come here and want to experience a little bit of our history and some of our gorgeous trails and scenery. So I think there's some opportunity for the city's economic development plan to really build on that, to encompass that. We have folks coming from Ciudad Juarez all the time to the Doña Mountains to mountain bike, and then they end up staying here to shop, and same with folks from El Paso, and so we need to embrace this monument. We need to embrace these public lands. We need to embrace not just the Western history that exists here, but our native history, our mestizo history, and really build on this monument that we have here today. So I'm just out here today, just kind of hanging out, taking some time to reflect on some things that have happened over the last week or so. And it's my place of healing. It's my place where I like to go and concentrate on the things that matter to me. So I encourage you all to do the same. And if I'm elected city councilor, that's one of the goals that I will have, is to be able to build a more robust recreation economy around this national monument, and also to make sure that we're being fair and telling the history that involves everybody that lives here. So thanks a lot, and come out and enjoy your monument whenever you get a chance.